one of the things that Mike Schilt of the Cardinals was upset about was what he was portraying as something that was arbitrary, like you're checking my guy's hat and you're not checking everybody else. So what is the trigger mechanism on inspecting a pitcher? What's it going to be? Does a team ask for it? A manager ask for it? Or an umpire just goes on suspicion or something like that? I mean, what happens?
This is going to be driven by the umpires. And one source told me it's going to be a lot like a DUI checkpoint. What they're going to do, as they say, they're going to have information going into a series. They see, like you and I see, if we were sitting and watching a ball game, you and I can see where pitchers are going to spots in their gloves, potentially on the form of their gloved hand, other spots for foreign substances. The umpires see that as well. I've had conversations with umpires through the years where they tell me, yeah, we see it, but the mandate hadn't come down from Major League Baseball for them to enforce it. That's changing. And so what you will see is, as I mentioned, probably 8 to 10 random checks through the course of the game, or if they see something and they want to act on it. And because they're cognizant of pace of play issues, some of those checks are going to happen as the pitcher leaves the mound after an inning or an appearance. So let's say, Rich Eisen throws the top of the first inning and they suspect you of a foreign substance. You will be intercepted on your way back to the dugout, and the umpire will say, show me your gloves, show me your hat, show me your belt, show me those strings hanging off your glove, and they will act.
So somebody's literally going to – you're right. It does sound like you're at the TSA checkpoint. And unless I guess you got clear, you know what I mean? And that may be the problem, I guess. So, wow. The opposing the manager of the pitcher that's being checked isn't going to go totally nuts on the spot that somebody throws an immaculate inning. They're feeling good. This is going to happen in a playoff game, Buster? The one thing that, with the NFL, whenever they changed what they would call an emphasis, a rules emphasis, an emphasis on the rules in the middle of a season, coaches go crazy. But I guess baseball could not do what they were planning to do, which is use this year as an inspection year any longer when, players are starting to talk about it. And we're also seeing it. And, half of Major League Baseball starting lineups aren't even hitting 200. And I guess, is that the crisis point that people are talking about it? And forget about pace of play. I guess you're not worried about pace of play anymore if somebody's removing their belt in the 2 minutes that you have in commercial break, right, Buster?
Exactly, and the parallels to the steroid era are unbelievable. Look, at the beginning, in the early 90s, you talked to players who were clean, and they kind of were curious about, what they saw. Tony Gwynn telling me about going into the Oakland Athletics weight room and seeing what the Oakland players like Canseco and McGuire were lifting and being, wow, geez, that's something. And then in the mid-90s, it was, man, there are a lot of players using this. And by 2000, 2001, clean players or players who wanted to be clean were getting angry because they realized it was a zero-sum competition. And if players were having an advantage and they were not by using PEDs, then essentially money was being taken out of their pockets. And that's exactly where we are, where I think the position players have realized, you know what? Pitchers are completely dominating, and you know who's paying the price for that? We are as hitters, which is why you've got players sending in video to Central Baseball saying, look at what this pitcher's doing. Look at the spot on his glove. Look at how he's doing this. And that is absolutely the driving force behind why Major League Baseball is acting quickly. And as you know, baseball is not a sport that typically acts quickly. We just talked about, umpires making mistakes during the course of the year. They don't really do anything. But in this case, with offense down, position players complaining, they are acting.
All right, and then last one, I guess. When again do we see this? Do we see this by the middle of this month, and all of a sudden you might see pitchers who have 9-figure contracts and spin rates through the roof suddenly give up a ton of runs? Is that really what we might be seeing, Buster?
And in the last week, players are watching spin rates, and they're noting it. Josh Donaldson made a comment about Garrett Cole's spin rate going down. Trevor Bauer's spin rate was down over the weekend. Yes, I was told that perhaps as soon as June 14th, you will see umpires begin to do this at the latest within 2 weeks. It's going to be immediate, and let's face it, knuckleheads like me are going to be doing a lot of before and after when we look at the statistics for pitchers, for position players, for offenses, once umpires start to be aggressive with these checks.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.